My dad, Joel, was diagnosed when he was 50.
My grandmother had Alzheimer's for 10 years.
My grandmother passed away from Alzheimer's just last year.
My father, Tony, was diagnosed with Alzheimer's 4.5 years ago.
My grandfather passed away in his 70s, in the 1970s in India.
My great aunt, she was able to tell us every story and who people were in our family. It's been really hard to not have that part of the relationship with her anymore.
Seeing her forget who we were and not even remember herself was really difficult.
You don't have to be old to get Alzheimer's. My mother was in her early 50s when she was diagnosed.
My own grandmother suffered from this disease. It's a painful and heartbreaking way to see a loved one decline right before your eyes.
Dealing with his diagnosis when I was just 18 years old is definitely not how I imagined my life would go, but it led me to become a fundraiser and an advocate for the Alzheimer's Association and now a staff member. So it's great to be able to give back and honor him in this way.
I'm passionate about having an opportunity to be a part of something that's really is taking on this dreaded disease head on.
Alzheimer's has changed our life for sure. I'm now on the board of directors of the Massachusetts, New Hampshire chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, and I will never stop fighting for a cure.
I just don't want anybody else to have to go through what we've been through. I was married a year ago and my mom was not there. I'm now pregnant with my first child and there's a million questions I would love to ask her, but I can't. That's why this is so important.
We all share a commitment to finding a cure and to improving the quality of life of patients, caregivers, and families.
This work is so powerfully important, and it makes a real difference.
There's one thing I can't wait for, though. I can't wait for the day when none of us can remember what the heck Alzheimer's ever was.
The Alzheimer's Association presents Hope on the Harbor, a virtual gala. Join us tonight as we honor this year's Alzheimer's Family Champion, Faith and Glenn Parker, and Corporate Champion, Bank of America, as well as our tribute sponsors, Bank of America, Biogen, and Eisai, and our champion sponsors, CBRE, Tufts Health Plan, Dick and Anne-Marie Connolly, Claire and Jerry Richer, and Jim and Anne-Marie Ross. Tonight, we will also feature a special appearance by Charlie Baker, the Governor of Massachusetts. And now, please welcome your Master of Ceremonies, anchor from MSNBC and Alzheimer's champion, Richard Louie.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Alzheimer's Association Hope on the Harbor virtual gala, as is most of our experiences as of late. Thank you all for taking the time to still come out and join us tonight, because we understand how important it is that we still remain strong despite difficult times. Now, and as you know, in years past, this gala would have taken place in a huge ballroom with dinner and cocktails, and now you're stuck with me in my my office, sitting here in front of the computer. But we'll do okay. We're still gonna have fun. You can still have dinner. You can still have cocktails as we're going through this, because what's most important is that we're together. Now, tonight, whether you have been part of Hope on the Harbor Gala in the past or this is your first time, the one thing we all share is this is the first time this has ever been a virtual broadcast event. And we have planned a great one for you at that. A lot of thought has been put into this. And what's most important is that we are together at this moment and trying to do the things we've always tried to do when it comes to the Alzheimer's Association and finding a cure and supporting our community, which is so important. Now, we're going to inform you about the important work of Alzheimer's Association tonight, what has been happening. There's progress continues, as you know, and with your help, We're going to try to raise some critically needed attention, some critically needed work and funds to help us achieve the vision, a world without Alzheimer's and all other dementia. The other thing so many of us share is a personal connection to this disease. For some of you, you know that I have been caregiving for my father who lives in California. I sit here in New York today. And during this first half of the year, I have only been back twice to see him. I typically would fly from New York to California 2 to 3 times a month to make sure he's okay. He can no longer walk or talk or eat. And as stark as that might sound, and many of you are living through this right now, have lived through this, it has still been a great time. When I saw him last week, he still looked over at me. I believe he can recognize me, and I had to visit him through a window. And then we realized when that's all we can do, that the acts of humanity are underappreciated, that we before this time were able to enjoy. And so although I could not hold my father or grab his hand, which he enjoys tremendously, it was still great to see him through a window. And tonight we will do the same. We're looking through a window of a screen, but we know that it's still so strong. So thanks for being here tonight. It's where we all get to come together and share a moment, right? My family is only one of many that have gone through this. And in fact, for me, it's very important that I live this message through the work I do. And as a part of this, about 3 or 4 years ago, my father's experience for the last 6 years inspired me to start a film about caregiving, which will be coming out in November. And so I take the caregiving journey of my father with Alzheimer's with great honor and difficulty and joy. And that's something in this community we all understand. Some factoids that we cannot forget. An estimated 5.8 million Americans currently living with Alzheimer's, and that number projected to, unfortunately, skyrocket up to 14 million by 2050. It is the most expensive disease in our nation. For instance, just this year, it and other dementias will cost $305 billion. And tonight you're going to hear from people, some of whom you may recognize, whose lives have been impacted by this devastating disease. And you're going to hear how the Alzheimer's Association is providing 24/7 care and support resources to families during the pandemic, advocating for the important legislation to enhance care and support services for families, and as well advances in funding for Alzheimer's and dementia research. I have been talking with the Alzheimer's Association all through this time, and I know that everybody's working so hard, and there are more fires to put out than ever. You're going to hear from Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker. The governor has his own personal connection to the disease and has worked hard to make important advances and policies to improve the quality and care for families across Massachusetts who are impacted by the disease. And before the governor speaks, you will hear from Harry Santaolalla, a tremendous fundraising force of nature who is here to help us reach our goal tonight of raising $1.2 million. You can donate anytime throughout the program. There are 2 simple ways to donate. Registered users can text Hope on the Harbor to 76278. And when you receive the welcome text message, click on the link to donate or text back Give with your donation amount. Or you can go to the left of this video screen and click on one of the various donation amounts, or go to the field marked Other and type in the amount that you'd like to donate. Thank you for doing that. And before we bring in our first speaker, here are a few more people who know too well the impact Alzheimer's can have on our loved ones.
My mom was a great cook, and when she started forgetting the recipe, that's when we realized her Alzheimer's was worse than we thought.
My mother's name was Mary.
My name is Liz, and I'm here to talk about my husband, Dennis.
My name is Kathy Azzoni, and my mother had Alzheimer's.
When Mom Hammond was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, we quickly made the decision to have her come and live with us. But to be honest, we had no idea how we would pull it off.
I always remembered my uncle as a very down-to-earth person, was always quick with a joke at a party.
I have some fond memories shopping with her, picking out my Easter dresses. As I got older, I noticed she wasn't able to kind of do those things anymore, kind of just drift farther and farther away.
When I was in my mid-20s, a good friend of mine turned to me and said, "Jim, my mother just got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. She's 53 years old. We don't know what to do as a family."
My parents were diagnosed with Alzheimer's. My dad passed away a year ago, and my mom continues to fight the fight.
The fear that someone else in her lineage is going to have that. That's a fear that a lot of people whose family members have suffered from Alzheimer's do have.
My dad loves jokes, and it breaks my heart to watch Alzheimer's steal that. But our family will never forget the jokes, and we'll never forget what a special human being my dad is.
I would say the one and only bright light of hope has been the Alzheimer's Association.
I am most grateful for the Alzheimer's Association that gave us strength through the most difficult of times.
While finding a cure for Alzheimer's is paramount, helping people live full lives as best they can while living with dementia is so important. The Alzheimer's Association has done that for us.
I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to the Alzheimer's Association for all of the terrific work that you do.
From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
We just want to say thank you.
My father took care of my mother for 13 years, but heroes need help.
If you are in a family with anyone who's been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I think you know that it goes far beyond whoever is diagnosed. I want to see Alzheimer's become a thing of the past and something that is in the history books one day. And I know that it starts with nights like these.
The Alzheimer's Association has been undaunted in its efforts to move their initiatives forward despite the obstacles of the pandemic. Here with an update, Jim Wessler, CEO of the Massachusetts New Hampshire chapter of the Alzheimer's Association.
Thank you so much, Richard, and thank you for sharing the story of your dad. It was incredibly moving, and I'm sure so many people turning in can relate to what your family has gone through. I have my own connection to the disease. My dad died 15 years ago, and several years prior to that, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. He was a great dad, a loving grandfather to my two kids, and he was an accomplished physician and cardiovascular researcher. In the last years of their lives, my parents moved to the Boston area to be near myself and my brothers. I still recall a room in his apartment that he used as a study. He had multicolored sticky notes plastered everywhere with a series of confusing reminders as he grappled with trying to maintain some order to his increasingly confused world. I am proud that we kept him safe, supported, and happy, but it was hard to see this brilliant man's world shrink as his cognitive impairment advanced. As Richard mentioned, here at the Alzheimer's Association, we have stayed on the front line during this pandemic, although the virtual front line, to provide support and resources to families in need and to continue to fund the all-important Alzheimer's research taking place around the world. Here are just a few examples of what our chapter has been up to. At the end of March, we closed our offices and pivoted immediately to deliver all of our core care and support programs virtually. Families are grappling with the collapse of their caregiving infrastructure, the terrible toll of COVID on nursing home residents, a majority of whom have dementia, and the personal strain of managing dementia in the middle of a pandemic. The Alzheimer's Association has been a critical source of support. Over the past year, we assisted over 30,000 people grappling with dementia, and since the onset of COVID, we've assisted thousands of families and healthcare providers. Understanding the disparate impact of Alzheimer's on African American and Latino communities, we partnered with community organizations to support families living with dementia, including the delivery of programs in Spanish and Portuguese. On both the federal and the state level, the Alzheimer's Association has been in the forefront of requiring greater transparency public reporting about the daily impact of COVID in nursing homes and other care facilities. We have also pushed to address key quality of care issues that have emerged. Amid the pandemic, we have continued our quest for research advancements. This summer, our International Research Conference went virtual and attracted 33,000 scientists from 160 nations, demonstrating the global commitment to find treatments for Alzheimer's and dementia. And the fifth and final site was announced for U.S. Pointer, the Alzheimer's Association's research trial to determine whether the adoption of healthy lifestyle changes can significantly reduce the risk of Alzheimer's. This last site, based in Rhode Island, will recruit volunteers from southern New England. There are a number of disease therapeutic clinical trials underway around the world, and we are hopeful that one or more of these will prove successful. One of our local companies, Biogen, has a disease-modifying drug that has recently been submitted to the FDA for approval. There is more work to do, of course, and we at the Alzheimer's Association will never stop until we indeed live in a world without Alzheimer's and all other dementia. Too many families have gone through too much suffering. Every one of these stories is unique. Tonight, we'll be hearing more and more stories, including this one from Paul and Nikki O'Callahan. Paul was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's when he was just 54 years old. Here is their story.
He was my water delivery guy for a store that I ran in Watertown, jewelry store. I'd see him once a month, say hi, that was it. And then one day, we had a special event at the store and I was wearing a red silk dress and that was it. It just seemed like there wasn't even a question. Like I was the one for him and that was gonna be it. And it was true. We're married. I decide I'm gonna go to nursing school and I'm pregnant. 3 redheaded Irish babies in 15 months' time. And then Amanda came into our life. We bought this house, and we've been here ever since. Paulie went first, and then Kevin and Brian went to school as well. So for the first time in who knows how many years, the house was quiet, it was clean, and he really struggled. And of course, we're doing exactly what we're supposed to do. Those kids graduated high school. They're supposed to go to colleges. They're supposed to travel. You know, I was ready for this part of my life. You know, and that became a big strain for us. So around that time, I said, listen, we have to talk. We were out in the yard, it was gorgeous. We were on the swing. You know, I said to him that something was wrong. Like, what can I do? He just kind of looked off. Now I'm getting tearful because I'm like, do you just not know how to tell me that we're done? Nothing. And I start to cry. And gets up off the swing, he walks into the house, shuts the door, and locks me out. So I'm sitting there sobbing, and I'm like, oh my God, what just happened here? I get up and I go in the house. And he's watching TV, totally not affected by anything that just happened. And that was absolutely not him. And then that's where it all started. We saw a neurologist because he was forgetting things and he was struggling at work. And he went on an antidepressant and it didn't touch him. And at the same time, so he's getting counseling, scans, neuropsych eval, because I'm pushing them. And I said, I'm not saying it as a nurse, I'm saying it because I've been with this guy since I was 21 years old. There's something wrong. Our neurologist happened to be pregnant. She said she was gonna go on a leave. And she goes, we gotta do something. I said, great. She goes, let's get a PET scan. And I'm like, you think he has cancer? And she said, no, but we need to probably just look at it. And I go, absolutely, let's do it. We get the results a couple days later. And she's like, well, it's abnormal. And I go, oh. And she goes, well, your husband either has frontal temporal dementia or he has Alzheimer's. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't really on our radar. We get the diagnosis, you know, sometime later that it was more Alzheimer's than FTD. And now I'm like, okay, let's go. What's next? So Paul went to work the next morning. I sat here and had a good old-fashioned cry for myself. And I really didn't know what to do. So I called the Alzheimer's Association and I get this wonderful woman on the phone and I feel like I've got it together. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? And so she tells me, I'll send you the package, take a breath, we're gonna help you. She was so supportive. And I'm sobbing. She's like, oh my God. I go, wait, just give me a second. And I pull it together. I'm like, okay, go, what's next? And literally, like a checklist, I went through it without even thinking about it. I just trusted this person on the other end of the phone who obviously knew way more than me. And, since then, I've called when I have a thought at 2 o'clock in the morning, if I haven't slept, and I'm like, what do I do next? It's everything. It's from financial questions, it's our future, it's long-term care questions. I don't know what I would have done without that support. He's changing every day. It's very different than it was, just a few months ago even. I do all of his care, get him in the shower, I get him fully dressed. Shaving is quite a challenge, but he has to look good. Like, I have to have that man looking good because he was like that. And the whole time he's talking to me like, what are you doing that for? Where are we going? I know what I'm doing, Nikki. I can do this. But then he can't, and he doesn't. And so I just say, of course you can, but let me just do this thing for you. As he progresses, my biggest concern is that he become unsafe. And as he is getting so much worse just in the last few months, I called the Alzheimer's Association the other day and I said, how do I pick a long-term care facility? They think he's ready now, and I'm just not. But I don't want him to get hurt because I kept him home longer. And I feel like, when he goes, he's not gonna last very long. So for me to say, okay, it's time, I almost feel like that's me saying, he does have these periods, and from what I understand, other people have them too. It just poof, he's there and then poof, gone. But I'm telling you, he was there for a minute. I didn't even have to see him. He said, hey, baby. And I was like, hey, just the way he said it. And I was driving and he put his hand on my leg. I'm like, oh my God, he's here. I was just so glad that I thought to ask him right away. I said, Paul, is there anything we haven't done? He's like, what? And I go, anything. Anywhere you want to go, any place you haven't seen with me, anything you want to do. And I thought I lost him, but he was thinking. And he looks at me and I'm trying to drive the car and he's like, I just want to spend the next 30 years with you. And I'm like, okay, that was too much. And I said, we don't have 30 years. The doctor just told me I only have 6 months. So what do you want to do? And he kind of chuckled. He goes, it's just as long as I'm with you. And that was it, he was gone. I'll wait for the next one, and see what I get. And so you live for that.
Such a powerful story of love and strength. I think you will all agree. And Nikki, thank you and your family for sharing your story with us today. And that is why we're all here tonight, to help raise awareness and funds to find a treatment, prevention, and ultimately a cure for Alzheimer's. And we can use your help. Now, to help achieve our goal of $1.2 million tonight, we're going to bring in a fundraising force of nature. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Harry Santa Oyala.
And that is how you give a production company a heart attack in the era of COVID. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. How on earth are you? How is morale out there? Where are you tuning in from? I'm currently here in San Diego, of all places. Didn't expect to be here. But that is the time that we are in. In fact, what I'd like to do, we're at that stage where everyone gets involved, okay? Everyone does their bit. But for now, I want to know where you all are. I want to know, where are you tuning in from? So there's a chat feature somewhere. It's on the left or the right, or it's up there. It's somewhere, okay? Just type in the chat box where you're tuning in from. Let's make this a collaborative team effort. I want to know, where, this, basically the dark cloud silver lining is the fact that we can all come together from all over the country. So get it in that chat box. And what that is essentially just a warm up. It's an exercise to get the old fingers moving. You can use your cell phone, I think, as well. And those are going to be very useful as and when it comes to the donation portion. Which is a perfect segue into the next part of tonight's festivities. So we are now at the donation portion, and we are asking you to give as generously as you possibly can, okay? How can you give? I hear you ask. Don't panic, remain calm. I'm here to guide you the whole way through, all right? You need to go to hopeontheharbor.givesmart.com. That's number one. You can use your cell phone or just use the computer right there. Actually, I think it's in reverse now, or over here. There are very, very easy to use tabs. You just hit which number you want to donate at, and then just follow the prompts. Go big, have fun with it. I promise you, it will feel good. It's a good way to spend money. And those of you who are still in the dark ages and using text messages, apparently, you can text Hope on the Harbor to 76278 and follow the link, text back give, and your donation amount there. So in an ideal world, you're probably already donating. However, I do think the best way to do this is to pour yourself a nice glass of wine or put on like a nice hot cup of tea or something, sit back, enjoy the show, get your phone ready, and then just start by donating to hopeontheharbor.givesmart.com. And you can give as many times as you want. The good news is we are priming the pump this evening with a $25,000 donation, okay? And that's coming in from Beth and Rich Fenton. Beth's family was directly impacted by Alzheimer's, and she turned that challenge into action. She's been volunteering on the association's helpline. Beth later joined the board of directors for the Massachusetts chapter and has now traveled to Washington, D.C. to join the annual advocacy forum to encourage Congress to increase funding for Alzheimer's research. So she and Rich have been generous enough to donate thousands of dollars over the years, including $25,000 tonight. They are tuning in from Florida, I'm being told, on my little screen up here, which you guys can't see. However, thank you very much to Beth and to Rich. If you're currently with Beth and Rich, give them a high five. If you've got some champagne, spray it on them or something. No, don't do that. That was a joke. Don't actually spray champagne. But give them some love. And then just to sort of show your support and gratitude for what they've done, why don't you give too? This is not a spectator sport. So if you're just watching me going, what is this lunatic all about? Start donating. That is your job right now, okay? I have 9 minutes left of this appeal, and I need absolutely every single one of you. We have over 320 people tuned in right now, okay? So don't just sit here watching. This is obviously not exactly how we wanted things to be. I desperately didn't want to be in a tuxedo in front of a light that gives me the world's shiniest face. However, it is what it is, but the job is still at hand. We still need to raise that money. So if anyone else is willing to give at $25,000, now is your time. And perhaps maybe you need that sort of broken down. I like to sort of break things down as and when I'm spending. So just see that as $25,000. That $25,000, it's just $1 a day, okay? Just $1 a day. That's it. For the next 25,000 days, you're just donating $1. It's not much. It's not too much to ask, all right? So we're looking for 100% participation. And the difference between the in-room galas and these virtual scenarios is don't wait. Don't wait for the donation level you want to give at. Just start giving, okay, at every single level possible, all right? Whatever you're comfortable giving, start donating now, okay? Tonight, we are funding research. We're funding research to achieve critical new insights into discovery science of Alzheimer's and related dementias. We're funding research to identify and advance novel approaches to risk assessment, diagnosis, treatment, and prevention. We are donating money to fund research. We are helping to improve care and support for those living with the disease and furthering our understanding of brain health. Again, there are 3 ways to do this. You got to go to that website. You can just use the buttons on the side. We're now at the $10,000 donation, okay? $10,000, okay? We actually have one that's already come in, and that is a combined gift, I'm being told, from Full Contact and Norbella Media. And I'm told that Marty Donoghue is the committee chair and a board member and a founding partner at Full Contact. So Marty, thank you very, very much. I'm being told that he is tuning in from Walpole. Sounds like, I don't know, something out of like Harry Potter or something, but that's where Marty is right now. If you're around him, give him a high five and start donating, you know, in his honor. Just everyone give right now, okay? I want to see where we're at. Okay, 1 second. Can I get an update on where we are actually at so far? Okay, I've got donations coming in on my cell phone as well. Apparently it is Nikki's birthday. I'm being told this is all live. We're just going for it. Krista Martinez is a board member, has also donated $250. So thank you very much, Christina. Don't forget, we are funding care and support, okay? Free and confidential 24/7 helplines to answer all the questions, big or small. We are fundraising support groups for people living with the disease and their caregivers. We're fundraising dementia care coordination, okay? We're fundraising for education programs and events. Again, don't stop looking at me. Get your phone out and start donating, all right? That's how this works, all right? Get the donations in thick and fast. We're sponsoring advocacy efforts. We are changing legislation at the state and at the federal level, and we're at the $5,000 level right now. And anyone willing to donate at $5,000 is going to get another special mention, just like Christina got earlier. And I hope that felt great, Christina. Where are we at in total? Can we get a live total? Or Anna, can you text me that total? I have 6 minutes left to get every last drop out of you people. And we're at the $2,500 level. Now, this part, I really do need you to sort of really pay attention, okay? At $2,500, there is a challenge, okay? And it is a challenge set to you by Biogen, okay? They've already sponsored the campaign at $50,000. So they've sponsored at $50,000, but they are willing to donate or match any donation of $2,500 or less. So no matter how small that donation, they're willing to match it up to $20,000. So it would be a crime not to get that additional $20,000. In an ideal world, we would have 8 donations at $2,500. Biogen is currently working to develop a pharmaceutical drug that could be the first treatment to actually slow the decline in people with Alzheimer's disease. It's genuinely groundbreaking stuff. 3 of their employees serve on the executive dinner committee and were instrumental in helping to plan this virtual gala, this very gala that you are watching. That is Deb Glaser, Karen Helsvik, and Lindsay Foy. So thank you to all of you. You are absolute superstars. I'm very, very grateful and, of course, thrilled to be with you. I'd have loved to have been in person. Those of you that know me well know that I'm usually running around like an absolute lunatic, but I'm confined to a cross that's on the floor of this living room, sadly. But I'm doing everything I can, and the donations are coming in thick and fast. We just had $1,000 come in from Hector Montesino. Hector, sorry if I butchered your name, happens to me the whole time. He is apparently the owner of Embrace Home Care Services. He is also the co-chair of the advocacy committee and has traveled to Washington, DC for the Alzheimer's Advocacy Forum and represented the Alzheimer's Association at several presidential campaign events. That's pretty serious stuff from Hector. So that's $1,000 from Hector. Thank you very much. He was also recently inducted onto the board of directors for the Massachusetts, New Hampshire chapter, and tuning in from Waltham, Massachusetts. So this is all coming in thick and fast. So thank you very much to Hector. Another $1,000 coming in from Mike Henry. Board, he's actually the chair of the board. So incredible. Thank you very much, Mike. Leading from the front, as always, Mike Henry coming in strong. Thank you very much, sir. Where are we at in the total? And actually, what I'm going to ask is if we can add we're already at $108,000 in the appeal alone. What I'm going to ask is if we can add the sponsorship and the ticket sales as well. Do not stop donating. They're coming in on my phone. We have another gift from Martinez Pudua, who's given at $250. We got $500 from Murray Metcalf, $100 from Brett Woodiot, $50 from Charlene Bemis, $1,000 from Greg Spear. This is all coming in. This is all absolutely fantastic. You're all doing your bit. I'm absolutely loving it. Where are we at on time-wise? I don't want to get in trouble from the powers that be. I'm obviously going to get a lot of grief from the production team after this for the little stunt at the beginning. But the show must go on because we've got to raise more money. Where are we at? $780,000 is not to be sniffed at. Let's get to $800,000. Okay, one last challenge for you. Okay, so I have been told that we have been given an anonymous match opportunity at $50,000, okay? It is from two people who are actually watching right now. They wish to remain anonymous, which is crazy in my opinion. If I was giving $50,000, I would have certainly have tweeted about it. I'd have put it on Instagram. I'd have probably have taken out an ad in the local paper. However, two incredibly generous, humble citizens of the US of A, land of the free, home of the brave, have donated $50,000 if we can get 100 unique donations in, okay? And we've just had another one from Danielle Hawksworth. So thank you very much, Danielle. Anna, let me know how many donations have come in. We've had $5,000 from Claire Richer, who is on the event planning committee. Thank you, Claire. You are a rock star. But don't forget, there is an anonymous gift of $50,000 that is to be added to the total raised if we get another another 100 unique donations. All right. And so give whatever you can, literally anything. It could be $25, it could be $25,000, literally whatever you want to give. If you've already given and you want to help us get to that $50,000 additional donation, then just give whatever you can, all right? So we are well over 50. Keep them coming in thick and fast. You can give more than once. You can give 3 or 4 times if you want, all right? But please just give something so we can get that additional $50,000. Let's have a quick look again where we're at on the screen. I'm actually 30 seconds ahead of what I'm watching on the screen, which is kind of weird. My little brain can't quite get around it, but the number is creepy. I'm essentially coming to you from the future. That's what's happening. In the future, it's awesome. It's great here. We're raising more money than we did 30 seconds ago because I can see that total rising up. I've only got 30 seconds left in my countdown timer. I've done everything I possibly can. Keep the donations coming in thick and fast. I'm such a fan of this organization. I can promise you the team behind the scenes have been working tirelessly to put this on. Of course, a virtual gala is not what we wanted to be putting on. Of course, we all wanted to be together in the room, of course. But please, please just donate on behalf of all the people that are working so hard to put this on, because it means the absolute world. You can donate throughout the rest of the event. Keep them coming in thick and fast. Let's definitely get over $800,000. That is all from me. I'm taking my sweaty, shiny face off screen for now. Thanks to everyone who got involved. And back to you, Richard.
Thank you, Harry, for helping us move the needle closer to our goal. And everyone, you can still donate throughout the rest of the program. Registered users can text Hope on the Harbor to 76278. And when you receive the welcome text message, click on the link to donate or text back GIVE with your donation amount. Or you can go to the left of this video screen and click on one of the various donation amounts, or go to the field marked Other and type in the amount that you'd like to donate. Thank you for doing that. It is now my pleasure, by the way, to introduce someone who has been championing the Alzheimer's Association efforts for years, someone who has his own personal connection to this disease and who has taken time each year to be a part of the Hope on the Harbor Gala. Ladies and gentlemen, the Governor of Massachusetts, Charlie Baker. Governor.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here. And I just want to say that I know I'm coming to you virtually, but this is an event that I have to say I really enjoy every year. And the reason I enjoy it is because it gives me a chance to talk to people whose life experiences are somewhat like the one that our families had in dealing with my mom when she had Alzheimer's. I just want to say to Glenn and Faith Parker, congratulations. I want to say to Bank of America, congratulations. But I especially want to say congratulations to the Alzheimer's Association for all you do to support and assist people and their families who are dealing with this terrible illness. And I also want to say how much we appreciate the partnership you've provided to us as we've gone through the process of implementing one of the most significant pieces of legislation concerning Alzheimer's disease you'll find anywhere in the country. And I want to also point out that over the course of the past few years, this issue has generated an enormous amount of noise and attention at the federal level, and that's translated into resources that are being invested in research. This is a terrible disease. We all know it. We play our best hand as we can as we work our way through it. But in the end, it's going to require all of us to find ways to get the feds and others to continue to invest, because at some point we will find answers, and that will be, in the end, the game changer. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor Baker. We are once again very grateful for your continuing support of this cause. And now comes the time of the program where we want to acknowledge tonight's Hope on the Harbor champions. And to present our awards tonight, I welcome back Jim Wessler. Jim.
Thank you again, Richard. First, our Hope on the Harbor corporate champion goes to a company that has been at the forefront of understanding Alzheimer's impact on their customers, their employees, and the world in general. Bank of America has gone to great lengths on many fronts to both educate and advocate on all matters related to Alzheimer's. Educating bank employees to recognizing the importance of understanding Alzheimer's and dementia as it impacts their customers and employees. Creating materials to help advisors recognize the signs of dementia. Expanding their support for the Walk to End Alzheimer's and their leadership with Hope on the Harbor event over the past several years. Producing leading research on the financial impact of dementia and cognitive decline. Accepting the award for Bank of America is Lorna Sabia, Head of Retirement and Personal Wealth Solutions. Lorna herself has shown tremendous leadership by being on the World Dementia Council along with the Alzheimer's Association's CEO, Harry Johns, and other prominent leaders around the world. The growing recognition of bank executives such as Lorna of the economic impact that Alzheimer's will cause worldwide over the coming decades is a big reason Bank of America has been a leader in this space, and the reason tonight that we are recognizing them as this year's Hope on the Harbor corporate champions. Congratulations, Lorna and Bank of America, and thank you for all that you do.
Jim, thank you so much. On behalf of Bank of America, we are honored to receive this recognition. And as you know, we've been longtime supporters of the association, both the Massachusetts and New Hampshire chapters, and we're so grateful for the work that you do. In fact, you know, when we think about this disease, it's the disease of the 21st century. And I can report to you as being a part of the World Dementia Council that this is not just a U.S. challenge, it's a true global challenge. And that's why this topic is important to us at Bank of America. And at the end of the day, we're trying to simply improve the financial lives of our clients. And so the topic of longevity as a demographic revolutionary topic is a topic that we continue to study and to research. And I'll share with you that in our research, the number one concern that our clients have as it relates to their own financial wellness is the topic of health. And if you sort of double click on that just for a second, they would share with us that their number one concern within the topic of health is actually getting Alzheimer's. And it far surpasses their concern of getting diabetes or cardiovascular diseases combined. And so, you know, when I think about the fact that we're in the financial services industry and we have the healthcare industry and we have public service, we're all on the front lines together, working together. And so here's to finding a cure for this disease and continuing to support those that struggle with it every single day. So again, on behalf of Bank of America, thank you so much for this recognition.
Thank you, Lorna, and well deserved. Our final champion award goes to Faith and Glenn Parker. Faith and Glenn Parker have been directly affected by Alzheimer's. Many years ago, Faith turned to the association seeking guidance with caregiving questions, and her journey continued from there. The Parkers are major donors to the Alzheimer's Association, and Faith is a board member and former chair of our board. They are involved in the Walk to End Alzheimer's, advocacy and public policy initiatives, and Lexington Goes Purple. They've traveled to Washington, D.C. for our annual public policy forum, joining their voices with thousands of advocates coming to meet with their members of Congress. Their generous support across all pillars has been critical in helping the Alzheimer's Association serve families throughout Massachusetts and New Hampshire. They were also among the very first supporters helping launch what is now our highly regarded Dementia Care Coordination Program. It is with great pleasure that we congratulate Faith and Glenn Parker on being named this year's Hope on the Harbor Family Champion.
Good evening. My name is Faith Parker, and this is my husband, Glenn. We are proud and honored to have been named Family Champions at this year's Hope on the Harbor Gala. Thank you for joining us tonight to celebrate the work of the Alzheimer's Association.
Like many of you, we have lost a dear family member to Alzheimer's disease, and we also have family living with dementia today. We understand what it takes to provide the care that Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia demand. So the work of the Alzheimer's Association has and remains important to us.
When my mother was suffering with Alzheimer's, we struggled with how best to care for her and how to support my father, who was her primary caregiver. This was made more difficult because Glenn and I were in Massachusetts while my parents were living in Kentucky. Even though we were hundreds of miles away from Mom and Dad, the Alzheimer's Association was there for us. Now both of Glenn's parents are living with dementia in Maryland in the care of Glenn's wonderful sister, and the Alzheimer's Association has again stood by our side while also lending a compassionate ear. We are especially proud of the Massachusetts-New Hampshire chapter's Dementia Care Coordination Program, which we have been supporting almost since it began. When my mother was diagnosed in 2002, her doctor simply told her that nothing could be done. He gave her a prescription for Aricept and sent her home. That was it. Tragically, she never reached out for help on her own because she didn't want anyone to know she had dementia, not even her children. The Dementia Care Coordination Program partners with healthcare providers to educate them about the life-changing services that the association can provide. Unlike medical services that typically react to problems when they're presented, the DCC program is proactive by design. Following a diagnosis, dementia care consultants work to establish regular check-ins with patients and their caregivers, connecting them with support services, socialization opportunities, and care programs to complement their treatment. DCC relieves patients from the burden of reaching out. In the years that I have been involved with the Alzheimer's Association, I have met many patients and families who have benefited from DCC, and it has made a huge difference in the quality of their lives.
Referrals to the DCC program have increased under COVID-19. During a time of drastically increased isolation, patients and families need these services more than ever. Please join with us in supporting the Alzheimer's Association and the DCC program. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith, Glenn, and Lorna, for all of your years of support to this cause. And thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for the first Hope on the Harbor virtual gala. And that concludes our program for this evening, but you can still donate. Again, here are the two ways to do that. Registered users can text Hope on the Harbor to 76278. And when you receive that welcome text message, just click on the link to donate or text back give with your donation amount. Or you can go to the left of the video screen and click on one of the donation amounts, or go to the field marked Other and type in the amount that you would like. Thank you for supporting the Alzheimer's Association, and together we can end Alzheimer's and all other dementias. this has been different, but no less special. And I do hope that next year we can actually do this together in person. But this is still together, and it's still in person, except it's in this space. And so it's good to have spent the time with you. And thank you for you spending the time for this cause. It has been an honor to be your host tonight. Good night to all of you, and have a very good evening. Bye-bye.